interested now moving into the next question and talking about, I guess, the lever that you just mentioned, you know, being able to use this as a lever within your organisation.
Yeah.
And the question is, what are some of the benefits of having a really strong brand for your organisation?
Okay. I think fundamentally, it helps you exist. It helps you survive. It helps you to be sustainable. Competition in most industries is at an all-time high, and there are so many things that an organisation, you know, internal factors, external factors, they don't have control of that do affect their brand and their organisation. But brand is one thing that they can, if they know how to harness brand, they can use that as a lever of growth, of improvement, of enrichment. So yeah, I'm not sure whether I answered your question there. I think I answered the question.
What are some of the benefits? So you've got the benefits around existing in a competitive world, surviving in a competitive world.
Yeah.
What might be some of the benefits from an internal point of view?
So I think understanding what makes you remarkable as an organisation, and I've gone into so many, and I'm sure you have too, Julia, gone into so many organisations, and you know, done the research on them, their website, maybe some collateral, and then you go and meet the people that have either created it or are behind it and are extremely passionate and determined, and all the communications that you're exposed to just seems to fall short of expressing what makes them remarkable. Right. So what is it that makes you remarkable? And finding a way to agree on that and express that at all available opportunities. That is really, so find what remarkable. Another benefit is that you can charge a premium.
Right.
If that's relevant to your business, because people come to you because of you, and the fact that there might be 17 parity products or services or organizations is irrelevant because they want to deal with you. And the other thing I would say is that it aligns the organization to one voice, one sense of who we are and why we matter. And why is that important? Because because a lot of organizations have a great purpose, but they don't particularly, you know, it's particularly challenging with a disparate workforce, geographically spread workforce. Sorry, I have a bit of a cold, so I'm
you're sounding great. Just
oh, really?
I should have.
So you're telling me I should have a cold more often?
Absolutely.
So,
so when you've got a disparate workforce?
Yeah. So bringing people together behind the brand, so that they live and breathe the values, the essence, the proposition, is really, really important. Because I'll give you an example. How often have you gone into a retail store and you've found that once you've got home, it's not right and you have to call a call center, right? So you've had a really positive experience. It was really efficient and quick, and the advice was great. And then you get on the phone to the call center and they're not very helpful at all. You might have to wait 45 minutes is one thing, but when you actually do get to speak to someone, it's as though it's chalk and cheese, right? So that's an example of where an organisation is out of alignment from a brand point of view. So the strong brands have all of that aligned and unified, so that it doesn't matter where a customer or an audience member will enter the ecosystem, but they get a similar sense of what it's about. Yeah.
Can you give us an example, perhaps, Darren, of where you have, now my voice is going wonky. Can you give us an example maybe of an organisation that you've worked with in the last 10, 12 years with your agency, where they've come to you and things haven't been lined up and they haven't been necessarily having the type of success internally or externally that they wanted to have, and where you've been able to do the work with them and then be able to look back now and see, yep, they're hitting their goals, they've transformed their organisation, and maybe just sort of an example like that, because I know you've worked with hundreds of organisations and there's probably some now retrospectively that you can look back at and say, yeah, look at where they're going now in the market.
Can I give you two quick examples?
Yes, please.
I know you said one, but I'll give you two quick ones. So one is a not-for-profit organisation, a community health organisation, and they recently merged a number of organisations together, changed the name, and then worked out all the detail later. So which sometimes happens with mergers and acquisitions. So this organisation didn't really know who they were and why they mattered, because there was just a new name and logo plonked on the door. And you had three antecedent organisations that had legacy cultures, legacy brand strategy, all coming together. So it was a bit of a I'll just say a patchwork quilt. So there wasn't a clear sense of who we are, and therefore how we communicate to our varying audiences. How that impacted the organisation was funders. They didn't know the value proposition of the organisation because it hadn't actually been worked out internally yet.
Right.
And that's really important with funders, of course. With their consumers at different parts of the organisation, they were a bit confused about, one, firstly, why things had changed, and two, what was the value to them for that, right? So we went through a process of consulting a representative sample across the organisation, about 1,800 staff, and found a consensus position on, this is who we are going forward, this is who we are and why we matter, and that's going to be the unifying narrative for everything that we do in the organisation. So the second example is a engineering consultancy. There's that engineering again, and they don't get branding. They just build bridges or design bridges, and so fairly old school when it comes to marketing and branding, and they just felt they needed a bit of a spruce up. So we came in and did a strategy for them and consulted a good part of the business, and they were sort of didn't really understand what we were doing and why we're doing it, even though we did explain it to them, because it was a bit, we just said, look, trust us on this journey. Anyway, so their key business problem was they weren't getting the quality of work. They were missing out to the tier ones, and they were tier two, but they weren't punching above their weight. And it was really holding the business back. We did this rebrand and really uncovered what's in the DNA that makes them remarkable, communicated that through their visual and their behaviours, and it made a massive difference to the business. Not only that, so I think they've doubled in size and had to get a new office, but it also was a real mindset change for the senior management. So you've gone from being having three directors that are pretty old school and think brand as a logo, and then suddenly you've got them embracing brand and actually being a champion for branding their own organisations. So That gives you perhaps a couple of contrasting examples.